Okay, let me share my screen so that we will see what are the next requirements for you in this course. Here is your midterm exam, April 28th, and the midterm has been planned for 6 p.m. So please plan. You need to be present for the midterm midterm writing session. Those who will not be able to join writing the exam on April 28th, I'm sure you know there is a testing center. So please simply contact the dean's office and they will tell you possible dates for the testing center. But of course, if you have time, please join on April 28th. It is usually better to write on time. I will load a review for the midterm exam. Today we will be talking about compensation benefits, a very interesting and really helpful discussion, and we'll say a few words about training and development. These are our topics. Here is compensation and benefits. Here is training and development. A few words about the strategy and the midterm exam. So sometime this week, I will record a review, as I said. So please, and I will load the review right here. So for topic 8. So what you will need to do until April 28th is to please watch the review for the midterm exam. And I will go through the questions which will be similar to the questions that you will encounter on the midterm exam. If you pay attention to our consultations, if you take time to study the materials loaded here in Moodle, you will be perfectly fine for the midterm exam. And now let's go directly to our discussion on compensation and benefits. Why is this discussion good and necessary for you? It's simple because what is compensation and benefits function? Compensation and benefits function deal with salaries of employees, deal with bonuses of employees. So anything which is related to remuneration, financial or non-financial. So it all goes under the umbrella of compensation and benefits. Before we do this, let me remind you the 4 major functions that any HR department deals with. And they are, first, talent acquisition, which is recruitment and selection. Last session, we discussed recruitment and selection. So please remember that recruitment and selection is a must for any HR department. It can be done inside by the company itself. It can be outsourced. For example, some recruitment agency is 100% doing talent acquisition for the company, but still HR department oversees this. HR department is ultimately responsible for bringing new employees to the company. So whoever does it, the company itself or outsourcing party. So HR has to deal with recruitment and selection, which is talent acquisition. Another factor that any HR department deals with is training and development. See, the person, and it's easy to remember these factors which are compulsory for an HR department in any company. So first, talent acquisition, you bring a new person to the company. Now he or she is a new employee. This new employee may have all the necessary skills and knowledge, which is kind of general for this business segment, for the market. But definitely each company is different. Each company has its unique organizational culture, unique requirements. So most of the time, it is necessary for this new employee to have some additional training. And of course, lots and lots of other trainings are necessary for employees to stay on the top of development in their industry. So this is what training and development is about. So first, you bring the new person to the company, talent acquisition. You provide some training to this person, and this is training and development. And then after 2 weeks, the person wants and expects what? Of course, the person wants and expects salary. No one works just, for the pleasure of working, unless it is an NGO. But still, everyone needs money. And so this is one of the big reasons why people work. So after 2 weeks, and in Ukraine, the law is that employees have to be should receive their payments every 2 weeks. So in Ukraine, after 2 weeks, employees receive part of their monthly compensation. It may be a different percentage of their monthly compensation, depending on the company, on the organization, but they should get something in 2 weeks. So, and then personal administration, this is the fourth responsibility of HR department. All the paperwork between employees and the company. So please remember, these are the 4 major areas of any HR department. And so today we are talking about this one, compensation and benefits. What employees get from the company for them investing their, efforts, time, education for this company, creating value for the company. Let's say a few words about the classical model of a reward system. Norms of reward distribution are profit maximization and equity, and distribution criteria, and this is very important. There may be 3 types of distribution criteria. The first one is results. What is a result? Result is when salary depends upon the employee fulfilling his or her very specific tasks which can be counted. For example, a salesperson needs to sell, 50 units of a product so that he or she will be considered as fulfilling 100% for a month. So a salesperson receives his or her salary for selling that number of products, and that's easy. Another distribution criteria is behavior. What is it, and how is it different from results distribution criteria, results payment criteria? Let's think about a receptionist, not receptionist, but employee at the front desk at a hotel. So you go to a hotel, you come in the lobby, and here is the front desk, and a very nice and helpful employee is, registering you, providing you with the keys, is giving you all the information that you need, and is really helping you in any way he or she can and you would like to receive. See, the employee at the front desk of a hotel is not paid for some result. So it's not like that this particular employee, if he or she checks in 25 guests, his salary will be different if he or she checks in, 35 guests. No, the employee at the front desk, he or she, his performance is measured based on behavior. Once again, such an employee, as I have just described, needs to make everything possible so that guests would feel welcome and would want to come back to the same hotel again. So this is what behavior payment criteria. When salary depends on a certain behavior. And there is also a seniority payment criteria. It is used in state, organizations. It is pretty much never used in business. What is seniority? It means that an employee who has been with the company for 10 years has a higher salary than the employee who has been in the company for 5 years. Of course, for businesses, it doesn't make really great sense because a person who has been at the company for 3 years may perform better than the person who has been in the company for 10 years and vice versa. So it doesn't really depend. That's why businesses never use this seniority criteria, but governmental organizations, state agencies, they use this criteria, and this is and you will see this criteria in such places. And of course, the desired outcome for a reward system in any organization is to attract new employees, meaning if the salary level is adequate, if it is higher than on the market, if the bonuses are higher than on the market, this attracts new employees. Of course, to motivate and develop employees and to retain employees. What is retaining? Keeping employees in the company. Getting new employees, replacing employees is expensive. And last session, we talked a little bit about it. So filling in the vacancy is really, really expensive. So it is much better to invest resources into keeping employees, into retaining employees, than to really pay significantly more to get a new person on the board. And so a good, adequate reward system works toward retaining employees. And types of rewards, extrinsic and intrinsic. I'm sure that you know the difference of these two words. Extrinsic reward is when employees stay with the company only because of what the company provides to them. Once again, great salary, great bonuses, really good non-financial rewards, for example, free lunches. This is all extrinsic reward. Intrinsic reward is when a person stays in the company simply because he or she wants to, because of some internal motivation. The salary may be not that high, bonuses may be not that high, but there are some internal factors that really motivate this person to keep working in the company. This is what intrinsic motivation is. Intrinsic motivation factors are different for different individuals, but intrinsic motivation is strong. You will be surprised at some point when you see a person working and getting really low salary, but really enjoying what he or she is doing. Once again, for example, because he or she is really helping others and really sees how what he or she is doing really impacts the lives and well-being of others. So this is an example of a strong intrinsic motivation. So what is the model of total remuneration? There are two parts of the model, and they are material. So anything which is connected to, tangible factors of remuneration, money, for example, benefits, free lunches, this is all tangible. And non-material, for example, creating, having pleasant atmosphere at work. And we'll say much more about this in a couple of minutes. So what does salary depend upon? Well, usually, and it is the classics. The salary depends, first of all, on responsibility. The responsibility and strategic relevance of the position. The higher the responsibility that the person has at what he or she is doing, and the higher the what he or she is doing, the higher the impact of what he or she is doing is on the company, the higher is the salary. The higher the strategic relevance of the position for the company, for development of the company, the higher the position is. For example, if, well, let's say, even chief accountant really well-respected, great position. But if, for example, chief accountant in the role of the strategic relevance of the position of the chief accountant depends on whether the organization really deals with finances, or simply a chief accountant is necessary as any accounting department in any organization. So if the company directly deals with, for example, auditing, then the chief accountant has more strategic relevance than, for example, an accounting department, chief accountant in, as I said, any company. Definitely qualification, market. Salary depends a lot on the market. If the average salaries on the market, a salary should correspond to the level of the salaries for the same industry on the market. If a company who wants to save money and pay below the market, it usually does not work. So salaries must be at least according to the market level. If some companies pay more to attract employees. Of course, salary depends on performance and the company's success. In some companies, cost of living, for example, it is more expensive to live in Kiev than it is to live in some significantly smaller town in another place. So salaries, for example, in Kiev tend to be higher. So it is these are all standard factors, and salaries really are under the influence of these factors. So now let's discuss this slide, total reward. So what is the model of a total reward? What can an employee get, once again, for his or her work in the company? Total, see this word total. Reward consists of two major factors: total financial compensation and a non-financial reward. And the total financial compensation has several variables in it. The first one is base pay. What is base pay? Base pay is a salary. Base pay is non-negotiable. You cannot get less amount as your salary than you assigned a contract to the company for. So if when you were signing the job offer, and the job offer says that, for example, your salary will be 40,000 net, meaning without taxes. So this is what you will get. So this is what the company must pay you. So once again, this is non-negotiable. You will get that amount of finances as salary. There is another part of total financial compensation, and this is variable pay. See, base pay salary is invariable. Once again, it does not change. You will get it. Variable pay is even understandable from the word variable. It may vary. What does it depend on? There are two types of variable pay. Individual related, when employees can really affect whether they receive this variable pay or they do not. And there is also organization related. This is the overall performance of the organization, which affects whether employees will get some variable pay or not. Once again, individual, something that individual employee has influence upon, and something that only the company has influence upon. So what is one-time bonus? A one-time bonus is actually a really great thing. One-time bonus is when a person has done something really great for the company. For example, the person has, acquired the skill that is very much related to the developmental area of the company, meaning the company really needs employees with such a skill. And here is our employee has acquired this skill or knowledge. Or, for example, an employee really performed outstandingly well and accomplished something far beyond that anyone really could expect from this position. For example, an employee conducted extraordinarily well some negotiation, and now his or her company has received a really great project to work upon. So for these are examples that deserve receiving a one-time bonus. And so for such performance, which greatly exceeds any average performance, any performance conducted to simply 100%. So a person usually receives one-time bonus, and one-time bonus usually is attached very closely in time to when this performance was conducted. For example, if the employee performed really well on some business negotiation, then he or she will receive bonus most of the time, next month or at least in 2 months. But it will not take 12 months until the person receives one-time bonus, usually. Sometimes definitely there are exceptions, but usually one-time bonus is attached in time to such extraordinary performance. What is target bonus? Target bonus, let me show you. Okay, then I'll show and then we'll get back to it. Target bonus is when an employee receives, when employee performs at least to 100% the target that he or she has agreed upon with their supervisor in the beginning of the fiscal year. Usually, or each employee, this is how it happens at the beginning of every new fiscal year. Employees, sit down with their supervisors and they discuss the next yearly targets, meaning what this particular employee is expected to achieve during the next time period. I've said a year, but sometimes in some companies it is a year, in some companies it is half a year, in some companies it is a quarter, depending on the position. And this leads to quarterly bonus, half a year bonus, or yearly bonus. So if the employee, by the end of the year, if the employee, and everything is definitely calculated by HR and then accounting department, so when if an employee has completed to the agreed level his or her target, for example, more than 90%, and of course, in some companies, it is more than 90%. In many companies, it is 100%. Then this employee receives their target bonus. Once again, it may be quarter, half a year, or year. Really nice. Such bonuses are a really great addition to salaries. For example, in many international companies, the target bonus may be if those employees who achieved the target bonus receive, for example, one additional salary. So that's nice. In some companies, it is a little bit more than one salary. So in some companies, it may be two. In some companies, it is less. But usually, target bonus is a really nice chunk of money. So that's why employees really try to achieve their target bonus. And there is also organization-related bonus. So that's what the company, if the company performs well overall, then the company, what the company can give to its employees are profit sharing, stock options, stock ownerships, and this is variable pay. Variable pay, once again, it is not guaranteed. It depends on performance, individual performance. It depends on the company performance. So it's really nice when everyone performs well and employees receive their variable pay, so everyone wins. And there is another part of total financial compensation, and this is benefits. Benefits is what is a benefit? A benefit is something very valuable that costs money to the company, but employees do not receive the benefit in the form of cash, but they receive some benefits free of charge, which the company has paid for. For example, insurance. Insurance is expensive, and so when a company provides insurance, this is an example of benefits. So the company signs a contract with an insurance agency, and then all employees in a company have insurance. Once again, insurance is expensive, so the company pays for it, but employees do not pay. This is a really great benefit. For example, company car. Company car is another very really good benefit. If a car is a must to use at work, then it is not a benefit. So if a car is simply like a tool that has to be used for some position to actually achieve the goals of the position. So, for example, sales representatives. Sales representatives, what they do? They visit the places where the products of the companies are being sold, and simply remind sales assistants, remind heads of the stores about the good qualities of their products. So all of this is to increase sales. So of course, a sales representative, generally a sales representative is expected to visit, well, definitely depending on the company, depending on the product, but more than 10 places per day. No one would use a tram, or a bus to do this, right? So a salesperson, a sales rep needs a car. So it is like, some person at a plant is using some machine to, do some product, to make some product. So a sales rep uses car, once again, to fulfill job responsibilities for the position. So if in such a situation, the company car is not a benefit, it's a tool to work. But very often companies go ahead and extend and create using the company car as a benefit. For example, employees are allowed, the same sales representative is allowed to use their car, after the regular work hours, is allowed to use their car over weekend. It's allowed, for example, to use their car during the vacation. For example, is allowed to take the car, to take their family by car, to some, even another country, for some vacation. So in such an instant, a company car becomes a benefit. And so some companies even go ahead and let their employees not only to use the car, but the company sometimes is willing to pay for gas. So this is really a luxurious benefit. So an employee is using the car, and the company is paying for gas. So it's a great benefit. Of course, it costs a lot to the company, and it doesn't cost anything to such an employee. The company pays for everything related to the service of the car, plus gas. So what the employee is doing is simply using the car when he or she needs to. So really great benefit. Once again, the employee does not get any cash, but receives a lot of money through simply using this car as a benefit. Another example, free meals. For example, free lunches. A really great benefit. Why? Well, imagine many of you already work. You have, parents, grandparents, other people in your families go to work. So sometimes your family members say, or you say, okay, I need to take something to eat for tomorrow's lunch. And then you start thinking, okay, what should I take? Some people don't take anything from home, but they, when it is lunchtime, they go and they buy something, so this is general approach, right? You pay for your lunch, and that's how it is. Some companies provide lunches. So instead of you thinking, okay, what should I take for lunch for tomorrow, or today it is lunchtime is approaching, you are already getting hungry, and you are thinking, okay, where should I go to eat? Instead of this happening, the lunch is right here. Usually how it happens, usually a company would sign a contract with several restaurants, cafeterias nearby. Some companies, sign a contract with one place. Some companies sign a contract, with more than one, simply to give some variety to employees. And now it changes. It makes a huge difference. So now instead of you being hungry and thinking, okay, where should I go? What should I need? What should I eat? How much money it will cost? So all these questions. Now you simply go to the place, the restaurant, cafeteria, anywhere, and you say the name of the company. They put a check mark in the notebook, and here is you having your free lunch. What happens and why do companies do this? Because, and it is not like the company is simply being, like given free lunches. No, the company does not simply give a free lunch. See what happens when people eat something together. Usually, people talk, right? Usually, people communicate. And when people talk with each other, and if I hope that you remember it from the organizational behavior class, usually based on all sorts of research, usually people develop a better understanding of each other when they're eating something together. People start appreciating each other more. People start become closer to each other in terms of building some friendship, building some positive attitude. There is even a book, a well-known book with the title "Never Eat Alone," and the author of the book actually used that approach a lot. So when you have a snack, a lunch, a coffee with someone else, once again you build a stronger ties with this person, and then at work you are willing to, for example, to help this person, or both of you are willing to exchange information with each other. Very often people in companies do not want to exchange information with each other, depending on many reasons. Lots of organizational politics may be involved, organizational power play. But when people regularly, eat something together, once again, more friendship, more warm feelings is there. and simply people start working, and then, and also when people usually have lunch together, they, of course, they talk about their personal issues, but also inevitably they will start talking about what's going on at work. So by providing a free lunch, the company also gets, some time from the lunchtime of its employees to itself by them actually discussing work. And so, and think about yourself when you are hungry. When you're hungry, you don't really think very well about what you're doing. You know that, okay, I want to eat, and then I will start thinking. But when a person has had a good lunch, then the person is in the better mood. See, all this a company is getting for providing free lunches. Once again, business is not charity, and many business companies provide free lunches not simply because they like the employees so much that they want to, give something nice to them. No, it doesn't happen. And it's not about charity. It's about being efficient. It's about being effective. It's about having more motivated employees, and it pays significantly well. So, in reality, a company pays that amount of money for free lunches, but receives significantly more in terms of, good attitude, improved performance, and so on and so on. So these are examples of benefits. So once again, a benefit is something that the company, a benefit is not cash that people, employees receive, but they receive great value through in a cashless way. And there is also non-financial reward, appreciation, contacts, privileges, titles, recognition, and so on. And although they are non-financial types of rewards, but some of them can really be converted to really good money. For example, let's say contacts. What is a contact? A contact is when you, through building networks in the companies, through building networks with other companies in the same business field, in other companies in different business fields, you have many contacts, many people in other places who know you. And then you can simply convert these contacts, these relationships with other people in your company, in other companies. They can give you great business insight. They can give you information which you really need for your career growth. So having more contacts is very beneficial. So once again, here is, and all of this you can get through your work in a company, through your fulfilling your job responsibilities. So non-financial reward, but can really bring good finances to you. Appreciation. Appreciation is when a well-done job is acknowledged. No one enjoys working well and without hearing any thank you for it. People want to be acknowledged. People want to know that their good work is noticed, and this improves motivation. This improves, this creates a good, positive emotional atmosphere. Once again, non-financial reward, but it really is very helpful in terms of employees' psychology. Really good. Privileges, titles. Some people really like titles, recognition. So all of these are examples of non-financial rewards. Once again, they're not cash, but they sometimes can mean significantly even more than cash. So this is what non-financial reward is about. When we talk about establishing salaries, usually how companies do this, they they need to have an understanding what is first of all the value creation of a position for the company. what factors are involved in what the position is doing. For example, some company thinks that the functional expertise in this company, the highest level of a functional expertise is, for example, here, number 8. And then this company evaluates each position, keeping in mind that the highest number that they can give to a position is 8. So, some position can get 7, some position can get 5. The same as for managerial skills, human relations, and so on and so on. And they sum up everything, and then establish the salary. Many companies have something called grades. I'm sure that some of you have heard about it, and some of you work in companies which have a grade system. Grade system is when all positions are evaluated based on what I have just described. Each factor of the position is evaluated in terms of keeping into consideration the highest possible for the company. And then each position is assigned a grade. For example, a company says a job with value points, these value points, a job with these value points is grade 1. For example, jobs with in the fork from 10 to 20 points is grade 1. Jobs with values between 20 to 30 is grade 2. And now, so this is how grades are established. What is kind of, there are pluses and minuses for the grade system. As I've said, it is significantly used by many companies, especially international companies. There are some pluses and some minuses. The plus is that it is transparent. See, it's really clear. So jobs, the fork of between 10 and 20 is grade 1. So that's it. Very clear, very transparent. And there is kind of common foundation for compensation related decisions. And so it seems very clear, very reasonable, very, once again, transparent. The minus is, the weakness is that it is not flexible. You see, for example, if some position is assigned grade, grade 1, and the fork for the grade 1 is 10 to 20 points, and the salary fork for grade 1 is, for example, 10 to 20,000. If this employee works and performs his or her job especially well, and is really doing his job very well, it is difficult simply to increase the salary. There is no foundation, there is no ground for simply increasing the salary. Salaries get higher only when grades are higher. So for this particular person to receive a higher salary, they need to be moved to another grade. But then how do you actually move the person to another grade if the total compensable factors for this grade for his or her position is 10 to 20, and then such employee is not happy. They know that they work well, they know that they have great skills and talent indication, and they are willing to move to another company, and there is another company which wants to get this employee, and now HR department needs to work really hard, and it is difficult because yes, according to the standard rule, you cannot simply give this employee higher salary. Now employees, the HR department starts thinking how to increase the grade for this employee. HR needs to talk, if it is an international company, needs to talk with, headquarters. They need to start thinking what to do to move this particular employee to another grade. Sometimes additional responsibilities are issued to this particular position. So all is to say that there are pluses and minuses for the grade system. And there are very many chances that you will get that you will have to work with a grade system when you work in international company. So just would like to remind you the rule about bonuses. A bonus is a reward with exceeding expectations. Bonuses should not and cannot be guaranteed and expected always. So bonus depends on the performance. Okay, pay, job-related benefits. Here are examples of benefits. For example, free gym attendance. In the United States, psychological counseling is very well-known benefit that employees have. Some employees may have interest-free loans, and here and so on and so on. So there are different types of benefits, and any company may have the benefits that it can think about. But see, the rule is that benefits should be valued. Employees in the company should be happy to receive some benefits. Sometimes there are really funny stories when a company provides some expensive benefits, but employees do not want them. So no one is motivated to perform better by these benefits. The company is paying money for these benefits and really hopes that employees will value this and will use this, but employees simply do not want it for different reasons. And so it is a smart thing to do for a company to first find out what its employees want as benefits. And then the company will, and then it will be a win-win situation. The company is getting better performance through thanks to benefits, and employees getting what they want to. Okay, remuneration philosophy. Let's say a few words here. When a company puts together the reward system, first of all, it should have internal equity. Internal equity meaning that positions in the company should be paid based on factors that I named earlier. For example, the strategic relevance of the position, the importance of the position for the company. So this is what internal equity is. Very simply meaning that custodian should not get a salary similar to middle manager. So this is very simple example, but that's what internal equity is. External equity is when it means that positions should not position in a company should not be paid less than an average and as well a similar position on the market. The same middle manager in a company A should have at least an average salary of other companies in the same business field. So this is what external equity is. And of course, all payments in the company should comply with laws and regulations and should have administrative efficiency. There is the explanation here. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share with you today in terms of compensation benefits in a company. So always remember that in most of companies, you will receive salaries, you will receive variable pay and benefits. So before, when you apply to the company, you may start getting some information about possible benefits that exist in this company. Of course, do not ask this in the first interview. Do not do this, but find some ways indirectly through other people, through someone whom you know, who knows someone in this company, to ask what you can get for your work in this company. Okay, this is what I wanted to share with you today, and our time is up. So as I've said, I will load a video with a review for the midterm exam sometime this week. So please watch this video and you will be ready for the midterm exam. And now I wish you to have a good evening. Stay safe and goodbye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a nice
Thank
day.
you. Goodbye.